Hey, this is hrjr Jr. and welcome to another episode of the ICE Talks, where we implement change every day. Hey, how you doing? hrjr Jr. here, also known as hrjr, your motivational coach. If you don't know what motive action means, motive plus action equals results, and results equals success. Welcome back to another episode of the ICE Talks. And today I want to talk to you about people who are stuck in their own way. Now, when I decided to begin, I don't want to call it a career. Let's just say when I decided to answer the calling of being of service to my fellow man by being a source of motivation and inspiration, I think the call didn't just come like a bolt of lightning. Like some people say they were called to the clergy or the cloth or, some particular profession or vocation. It didn't come to me like that. I think it came to me in clues, in something like I said in a previous podcast. One of my mentors, Jack Canfield, he always says success leaves clues. Now, sometimes those clues could be something that you can look for and pick up along the way. And sometimes these clues just might drop themselves into your life with the expectation, unbeknownst to you, that you take notice of these clues and begin to recognize them as such. So for me, going into the area of self-development and personal development and self-improvement, for me, I had to first improve myself and develop my person before I could go into helping others do the same. And once I did that, it was all about the people who I was listening to, the people who I began researching. Those who know me know that I'm an avid Les Brown fan. I've been following Tony Robbins for years. And then from listening to those two, I got put on to Zig Ziglar, Brian Tracy, Jack Canfield, a whole bunch of guys, Jim Rohn. So from that point, once I began to appreciate the lessons I was learning before even making it an actual calling or a career or what have you, I began to try to share just the happiness I was feeling and the contentment I was feeling within myself with other friends. And I had a couple friends who, at that point in our lives, we're talking like 20 plus years ago, maybe almost 30, we're going through a little bit of things they were going through, late 80s, early 90s, and I remember I had one friend sit down and I said, listen, man, I want you to listen to this tape. This tape really, when I'm feeling kind of down, I listen to this guy, and this guy really makes me feel better. And I had my friend listen to a Les Brown tape. And all he wanted to do was talk about how life can't be that good, how life can't be that easy, how problems can't be solved as easy as this guy makes it seem or sound that problems can be solved. I was like, you know what? I was mad disgusted. He started I'm not going to say he started making me feel bad. He started getting on my nerves because this was, I think, one of the first times I realized that there are people in this world who want to be miserable. No matter how much they tell you they want to be happy, no matter how much they tell you they don't want to have the problems that they have, no matter how much they say they wish they were living a better life, they will not do the things that are required of them to actually live that better life. I have 5 cardinal rules. I won't bore you with all 5 of them at this time. That'll make for another podcast. But my first and primary cardinal rule, as an individual, these are hrjr's cardinal rules. My first cardinal rule is you can have, do, and become just about anything you want, provided you're willing to put forth the work necessary in order to achieve it. So if a state of happiness is what you want, you can have that, but you got to do what's required. If a new car is what you want, everybody who knows me knows my dream car is a Corvette. These new ones. But I got to, and I want it. But just because I want it don't mean I can get it or I can have it. I got to put forth whatever work is required of me to be able to get that car. There was a time when I wanted the Camaro, and I got it. I did what was required of me at that time to get that car, and this evil hurricane named Sandy took it away from me, but that's okay. That's some karma I probably had coming to me, so I got to put that behind me and keep it moving. I don't know how I'm going to put it behind me, though. I love that car. Anyway, my point is, if you want to achieve something in life, you have to do what's required of you. And if you want to be happy, if you want to get past your problems, if you want to get beyond the hurt and the pain of someone having double-crossed you or did you dirty, you have to be willing to look for the solutions. You have to be willing to look for the solutions. And there are a lot of people out there who just don't want to look for the solutions. Why? Because they don't want to do the work. See, it's easy to do nothing. Nothing requires absolutely no effort, but you also get nothing results. You get no results. You get nothing results. You get nothing done. You move nowhere. You progress to nothing quickly, right? I always say, people who don't actively set out to put in effort in improving their lives often get nowhere quick. Or they spend the rest of their lives going nowhere. And when they die, that's exactly where they find themselves. Nowhere. So the people that I'm talking about particularly are the people who, and maybe you've experienced this in your travels or in your personal experiences, where somebody comes along and they say, oh man, money's tight, yada, yada, yada. Well, okay, cool. Well, did you think about putting on more hours at the job? Oh, man, I ain't trying to give that man no more of my damn time. I got a life to live. Oh, okay. Well, did you think about going into network marketing? You mean that multi-level marketing stuff? Oh, man, that's a scam. That's a pyramid scheme. I ain't trying to get involved with that. Oh, wow. Okay, well, hey, I know a guy. I know a guy who's making a pretty decent, little bit of chump change on the side doing Uber. He's making, put a couple hours in a week and a little bit of, make a couple $100 a week doing Uber. Man, you crazy? I ain't putting a whole bunch of strange people in my car. I had people getting in my car, drunk, spitting up in my car, da. Well, see, this is the type of person that just wants to complain about their problems. They don't want the solution, because you could give and I've been through this with people, and I've learned, I got to really care about you to keep wanting to try and ply you with solutions and suggestions to help a person through their situation. I got to really love them, because I'm at the point where, you know what, if after 2 suggestions to improve your situation, I ain't gonna be no 3 strikes, you're out. I'm out, because you're not gonna waste my time. If you want to be in the sunken place, a melancholy place, if you will, I'm going to let you. Quite frankly, I don't want you to, but here's the thing. When a person is drowning, if they're serious about wanting to live, they have enough in their head to calm down to the extent where they will let someone help them. But the person who's too scared, who's too out of sorts in their brain, even the person that comes to help them, they're going to lash out and attack because they're too afraid to do the work to stay alive. And that person winds up pulling down the person that's trying to save them. No. That will not be me. I want you to understand in these last few minutes that solutions are often the exact opposite of the problem that you're facing. It's like the old corny joke. Guy goes to the doctor and says, Doc, every time I turn my arm like this, it hurts. The doctor, what should I do? The doctor says, well, buddy, don't turn your arm like that. Oftentimes, the solution to a problem is the exact opposite of the problem. Now, that's the easy part. Determining the problem, finding a solution to the problem can sometimes be the most easiest part. And then you have to actually put forth the work to turn that problem around. That's where it gets difficult. That's where it gets hard. And get ready, because here comes the kicker. That's where people begin to fail. That's where people begin to fail because people say these cursed words, it's easier said than done. When people say it's easier said, I challenge you to find me one person that said something was easier said than done and then went on and did it anyway. I challenge you to find me. Hey, you know what? And if you find me such a person and can prove it, I'll give you a copy of my next book. Free. How about that? Excuse me. But in all seriousness, people who say it's easier said than done rarely do what was so easy to say. Why? Because in that statement, what they do is they give themselves permission to not even attempt to improve that situation or do whatever was required or do whatever was so easily said. You know, I want to have a Corvette. Well, yeah, that's easier said than done. Of course, I just said it. That's how easy it was for me to do. Now I have to do it. Yes, it's going to be hard. Yes, it's going to take time. So what? See, so that is the proper response to when someone says, man, that's easier said than done. So what? See, and once you can put those pieces of the puzzle together, that's your key to that door. Because when someone says something is easier said than done, what they're doing is they're closing the door. It's like saying no. And when you say no, when you say don't, when you say I can't, basically what you're doing is you're slamming the door in the face of God, the universe, or whatever you deem your higher power to be. Okay? You can't slam the door in the face of that kind of opportunity. You can't cut yourself off from that kind of opportunity. So when someone says that's easier said than done and they slam that door in the face of your opportunity, then you respond with so what? See, so what is the skeleton key that opens the door that they just closed. And it puts you right back on the path to searching for that solution, to find a way, no pun intended from my first book, but to find a way to solve that problem. You can get these things done. You can do whatever it is you want to do. And if you truly want to get yourself out of a sticky situation, you have to be open to all possibilities. If you want to improve your life, if you want to move on to greater and greener pastures, you have to be open to all possibilities. I have gone through some situations in my past where I tried to think of the most logical way out of a situation, and it was actually the silliest thing that came to my mind that was the actual solution. You can't afford to say, when you're talking about improving your life, you cannot afford to say, that's too silly. Not if there's a shred of possibility that that situation or that clue could help you. Listen, I only got about a minute left. Let me just close with this. There are people in this world who would much rather be miserable. I think it was my last post where I talked about being in the minority, and successful people are being the minority because successful people are the ones who are willing to do more. Happy people make up another minority, because it's happy people who are willing to do whatever is required of them to not be in a negative place, to not be sad. Sometimes you find yourself in that mood and you got to work your way through it. You could either you got to swim through it, or you're going to sink in it. It's really just that simple. And when someone tries to come along and help you and give you potential solutions, listen to what they may be, excuse me, before you just air them out. Listen to what they may be before you just say, nah, that's not going to work. Listen to what those solutions may be before you just say, nah, I don't want to. It's easier said than done. Listen. The secret of life is that life is simple. I'm going to leave it at that. The secret of life is that life is simple. It gets difficult because people would rather not believe that life is simple. And because the law of attraction is real, they actually invoke the law of attraction and bring difficulty and chaos into their lives. You think about that. Find the solutions. Make it happen. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Ice Talks, where we implement change every day.